Hello YouTube, I'm Chris, and today I'm going to show you how to make this pool pump cover using some reclaimed wood. I'm going to start by removing all the nails from the reclaimed wood that I got and using a pry bar and a metal detector to find out if there's any buried in the wood that I didn't know about that can be bad for the saw blades. In this step, I'm going to cut all the pieces for the frame from the reclaimed wood that I just removed all the nails from on my chop saw. At this point, I have all the wood for the frames completely cut, and I've started marking all of the ends of the boards that will get pocket holes. I'm using the XL sized pocket holes, not because it's necessary. I could have just put screws in from the ends, but I've had these for a long time and I've wanted to try them to see how strong they are. They seem pretty strong. So I'm going to use these XL pocket hole screws for this project, just so I can get some experience with them. You don't have to have them. Frames cut out and laid out on the ground. Now I'm going to show you the difference between the standard pocket hole screw and the XL pocket hole screw. And now I'm going to start the assembly with the XL pocket screws. Next, I need to cut some boards on a 45 on each end and use those as braces in the corners. And I'll start by cutting some scraps that I had, just 45s on one end, and then I'll flip them around and I'll cut them all the exact same size. I'm gonna put a stop block in my chop saw so that all the braces will come out the exact same size. So here you see me doing that. I have some 1/4 inch plywood, and this is marine grade or pressure treated, and I thought it would be nice to give the frame a little more rigidity, and it's helping me square up the whole frame because it's got factory cuts on 2 edges. So I'm nailing that down now and trying to take some of the bow out of the wood. It's been sitting around for a while and it's kind of weathered, but it's going to be fine for the project. Just following the same steps here, but using a newer piece of wood, and just using the corner to square up the frame. It's really helping out a lot. And here I'll just cut the end off. It's easier to do while it's connected to that frame, so I'm going to put some screws in just to affix it a little bit better. The nails are like shingle nails and they're probably not ideal for this, so I'm putting some screws all the way around in both of these frames. Here I've just stood them up and I'm putting them together just with 2 temporary screws just so I can get an idea of what they are going to measure at, make sure I hit my measurements, but actually they are incorrectly placed there, but I got the measurements I needed. And here I'm just cutting a couple pieces to go across those 2 gaps that I had that you saw on the top and the bottom that the other piece of 4x8 sheet didn't cover. I'm doing what I would call dry fit, just to see where I may need to notch for the spigot at the bottom. And I'm going to end up notching this out eventually, but then I'm going to relocate that spigot just a little bit off to the side there so it won't be in the way. But everything seemed to fit okay mostly, and I'm going to put another brace in here so that I can have an opening in the bottom. So you'll see that here. And again, I'm using those XL pocket hole screws. They seem to be Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make a cap for the top so that it will overlap where the siding comes across or comes up to. So here is me cutting one of the caps here for one side, and then I'll cut another one for the other side and place it on top. It's just a 45 on one side, and the other side is just a square cut. So just to finish this off on the outside facade, we went and got some hardy, and we're going to put that on the side so it's going to lap just like the house. And I'm using a mason blade on my grinder to cut it, and it cuts super quickly like that. And I enlisted one of my helpers, and she's holding the board with her foot, but nonetheless she's holding the board for me. But she has been a huge help throughout the project, so I kept her around. After doing a couple sheets, as you can tell, we came up with a little method where I cut a piece of scrap, and we used that to align the ends so that every piece would be perfectly the same separation. We wouldn't have to look under there and measure and all that. We could just clamp to one side and then hold the other side, put a screw, and then move on over to the other side. So it worked out really well. And if you have to do this and you have a limited amount of hands, it's huge help if you just put one side up with a clamp and then go to the other side. But luckily, of course, I had some help, and that worked out great. One side down, and the other side we're starting now, and it goes a little bit quicker. This apart too, so we have some experience putting this up now. And I'm just using some outdoor screws. I think they're called outdoor fasteners, but they're kind of, they have a T20 head on them, and the head doesn't fit in the screw very well, so I had to use a little guide tool that goes on the end of the impact, and it makes it so that you can just slide the screw down in there, and then when you drive it, it holds it straight for you, which is really helpful. I recommend using that if you can find one. Here is a couple before and after photos. If you like the video, please hit the like and also subscribe. I'm going to put out as much content as I possibly can from here on out. Thank you for watching.